Governor Adeleke of Osun State has vowed to challenge the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission decision to freeze the state's salary account domiciled with First Bank of Nigeria. Governor Adeleke described the action as unconstitutional and a violation of due process, even as the anti-graft agency insisted it acted to prevent an alleged diversion of public funds. This comes in the wake of an allegation that more than 18 billion naira had been withdrawn from the said account, which has now been under scrutiny for 14 times in less than 2 months. It's been reported that the anti-graft agency had been alerted about the multiple transfers of large amounts of money within a short period into an account that under normal circumstances recorded salary payments once a month. Well, the Rise News analyst, Dai Shobole, joins us now to discuss this development. Good afternoon, Mr. Shobole. Many thanks for being here.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure.
Now, I don't know if you're the one who said it, but timing is everything.
Yes.
And seeing that this freeze is coming just a few days before the governorship election, do you think that this is an indication of something suspicious and not just what's being alleged?
Well, you see, the allegation of the Efcc is very grave. But the timing of the allegation is suspicious. But then, if you look at the gravity of what Efcc has said, you'll see that you may overlook the timing and look at the issue at hand. Mm-hmm. The Efcc man is a lawyer. He's a very literate person. He said he will not stand by while people loot government funds. What he's saying is, in fact, is that he will not be put in a position where he will be accused of closing the stable doors after the horses are bolted. That is what he's trying to do. But if you look, yesterday I was discussing this issue with some of my friends. You see, the allegations are grave. The timing is suspicious. I say that again. But you have to look at it with an open mind. You have to look at it with an open mind. It is not right for EFCC to block the payment of workers' salaries, especially on the eve of an election. Because that could make the workers hostile to the government of the day and decide not to vote for it. That is the first political implication. But on the other hand, if the FCC turns a blind eye to what is going on, it could be accused of complicity or inefficiency. So the right thing is what the governor has done. He has gone to court. The dilemma is now before the judge. How to rule and be seen as not playing a part in election intervention to the detriment of the party in power, as opposed to the party in power in the state, as opposed to the candidate of the party in power at the center. So neutrality is difficult here. The rule of law is under stress. The rule of law is under serious stress. And it is going to be very interesting how it plays out. Because the opposition has already taken its own stand, talking of election interference, which is a logical inference from what has happened. But then you have to keep an open mind. If a salary account that is operated once a month, all of a sudden develops some acceleration over 2 months, the logical thing or the professional thing for the EFCC is to intervene, which is what they have done. But then you cannot ignore the timing. Just a week and a half or 2 weeks to the coming election. So the governor may have a case. The FC222 has a case of professionalism. But then, like I said, you cannot prejudge it. Since it is going to a court of law, you'll have to exercise some patience. I do not buy the human rights people reaching a conclusion That is why at times I don't want to listen to what they are saying. You face the issue on the ground. There is a dilemma for the rule of law. There's a dilemma for the execution of the rule of law. There is a dilemma for the Efcc in the execution of its functions. Because it has used the very dangerous criminal words, pillage, looting. Those are heavy words that frighten me myself. You get me? So one cannot just look at it with election spectacles and be talking of election interference or one-party state and all that. Those are exaggerations. The issues at the ground will be decided, the timing or the enormity of the action of the Efcc will be determined by the law court. And I hope the law court will give it a swift hearing so that you're not like getting wise after the event. Because when the money goes out, it's difficult for it to be returned. So I commend the Efcc for that. But at the same time, the timing, exposes the Efcc to charges of siding the government of the day, even though it has said it is not sectarian, it is not partisan. So let's leave it at that.
And thank you for that, Mr. Shawale. Yeah. So President Tinubu, this is just breaking news into us, directed the EFCC to vacate the court order freezing the Osun state government account. So that just came into us now. We have the president essentially, weighing in, intervening, just... Okay, I'll read the press release now. The president says, "It's come to my notice that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission obtained a court order on August 5, which was yesterday, freezing the accounts of the Osun state government. I must state that I feel deeply embarrassed, not by the EFCC's exercise of its mandate backed by court order, but by the timing of the agency's action. This is so because every action taken by an institution of state, especially at the federal level, is always credited to me as the president, even when I may not have had any prior knowledge of the action. Since assuming office, I've consistently maintained that anti-corruption and law enforcement agencies must be allowed to discharge their statutory responsibilities independently, professionally, without fear or favor or interference. Therefore, deliberately, I have refrained from directing or interfering in the operational activities of the EFCC because I firmly believe that strong democratic institutions operating within the confines of the law are indispensable to democratic good governance and the rule of law. Beautiful. As president, I'm committed to allowing the institutions of the state to function and take any action they consider necessary in the interest of proper governance without the need of prior approval. Indeed, that's why institutions are set up by law with clearly defined powers. While I'm yet to fully be apprised of the facts which inform the action of the EFCC, in approaching the court to obtain this order, I am not in the slightest doubt that the timing of the action of EFCC is inauspicious, and therefore I am compelled to intervene. Osun State is just a few days from its gubernatorial election. Therefore, nothing ought to be done to give an impression that the EFCC or any other agency of the federal government is being used to interfere with the election. Based on the foregoing premise, I am duty-bound to issue a directive on this issue in consonance with the overriding public interest in preserving public confidence and the integrity, credibility, and fairness of our democratic process. I have directed the EFCC to immediately proceed to the court to vacate the order and discontinue whatever action it has instituted against the Osun state government. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria, from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu just into us a few minutes ago. Mr. Shawale, your reaction to this breaking news?
I was suspicious of the timing, and he has waded in now, but that will even open another frontier. Because the executive is not supposed to be interfering with the judiciary in exercise of its duty, but in the public interest, like he has said, the public interest. But then the FCC, the public is aware of what the EFCC is doing. So what he's trying to say now is that they should let the field be open for competition. For competition, regardless of the circumstances. To me, that is fear interruption or interjection. But then we see how it goes. But you can bet the opposition will still not accept this. They will still criticize it. Because the timing, like I said, has been very suspicious. He said inauspicious.
Indeed.
Yes.
Mr. You're rhyming. Auspicious. It's auspicious.
Yeah.
But in just a moment, or in a minute, based on what you highlighted about the executive and the judiciary having a bit of an overlap here, would you think this might set a precedent for future situations like this?
I really don't know. Okay. But he has intervened. He has intervened. And like he said, he's saving his own neck, literally, because they ascribed we are discussing this, we didn't know that this will come out. But invariably, I think what he has done tallies with what we are trying to sort out. So let's see how it plays out. I'm sure the Osun State government will be relieved, their staff will be relieved, but the Efcc, I'm sure, will not close its eyes to what is labeled as looting and pillage. So I think it also will be alert in spite of the presidential orders. So that, like I said, EFCC is not seen as closing the stable doors after the OCs are bolted. Let's leave it like that. Yeah.
Great note to end on. Mr. Dayo Shobowale, thank you very much for joining us on this big story, and of course that breaking news on President Tinubu intervening, speaking out on the Osun State government.